I was born with a strange gift. The ability to see what no human being has ever seen before. It's all mixed up in my head. The images, the sounds, the smell.
This game has me completely confused in that I don't know how to form an opinion about it.
There's a Green Goblin. There's something about death.
That's exactly what Beyond Two Souls is. You've nailed it. I'm being serious though. Like this game has me incredibly confused in how to form an opinion about it because I actually really enjoyed it, but I have no desire to buy the game. I can't quite place what I like about it and what I don't like, and I wouldn't know how to go about fixing what I don't like about it. Do you know what I mean?
I would like to hear more.
Beyond Two Souls, it's one of those interactive stories. Emphasis on the story and not so much on the interactive.
It's like Heavy Rain, right? So I mean, like,
It's a lot more input heavy than Heavy Rain is, so it's more interactive than Heavy Rain.
but still not interactive enough.
Let me give you the run through of what the story is first, because I mean that's kind of all there is, right?
Uh-huh.
The main story is about Ellen Page, Jodie, and she's tied to a ghost, like this entity that's been following around. And then the story is kind of split up into three little stories. You've got Jodie, a little girl trying to deal with the fact that she's tucked to a ghost, being studied. Then you got Jodie, Agent of Shield, where she's going around doing secret agent stuff. And then you got Jodie, the fugitive, who's running away from the FBI. Those are the three separate stories. And the game is non-linear. You'll get bits and pieces from the beginning, and then bits and pieces from the end, and then bits and pieces in the middle. But none of these really tie together in like. Have you seen Memento?
No, I haven't seen it.
Like when you do a non-linear story, you're supposed to have those little reveals and bits and pieces that kind of connect to each other. You go, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
That never happens in this. It's just a bunch of random events that they kind of start tying together when they want them to tie together because they'll do it sequentially,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really jarring. And it feels like it would be better as a TV show than this game because when it starts to get interesting, you're Jodie and you're 8 years old, and it's like, no, I want to go back to that other thing. So yeah, it's I mean, in the story, I enjoyed the story a lot, but it's super cliche.
Uh-huh.
I mean, for example, like the Agent of Shield thing or whatever. That I mean, like I've watched the Born Supremacy. It kind of follows those beats for when she's being chased.
Uh-huh.
Except
Yeah.
that she's got ghost powers.
Uh-huh.
The little girl thing. I mean, like I've watched The Sixth Sense, so I mean that's
Oh.
not all that different either.
Mm-hmm.
She sees dead people as well. Not major.
Can she see other dead people or only that one ghost?
Once in a while, she can see other dead people.
Okay.
For the most part, she's tied to this ghost. And the review of what this entity is actually pretty effective, I think. Like, it actually kind of hit me right there.
I know that's still the only thing I want to know about this
Yeah,
game.
no, they explain their base. I mean, like, it's a well-contained story. It's not a incompetent story. It's a well-put together story. It's just not super original either. Like I said, if you've seen The Sixth Sense, you've seen The Born Supremacy, The Fugitive, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, when it wraps up, it's good. I liked it. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that's
and
good.
I don't know how I would go about fixing the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, what I hear from your story is like they're taking like these giant chapters of her life, right? Like adolescence, teenager, and like adult.
Yes.
When you do like a non-linear story, like when you jump around, it normally works when the story's linear. So like you have one path to fix. Like that's the whole point, right? You're making a puzzle.
Yeah, with the non-linear, that's what it feels like. But they never give you enough chunks for you to piece something together. There's nothing to really piece together.
No, but that's why, because it's like it's different chapters of her life.
Exactly.
So you're making 3 small puzzles with a puzzle box.
But here's the thing: if you were to make it linear, it wouldn't be terribly interesting.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I said I don't know how to fix this, because if you were to just make a linear story,
Yeah.
then it would be really boring. Because honestly, all the parts with the little girl, they kind of suck.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna be completely honest. Those parts were the most. Some of them are like 2 minutes long.
Oh no.
Like that extent sometimes. So that's the story. As far as the characters go, like Jodie, I mean, she delivers all the lines well. It's Ellen Page, and then you just said Green Goblin. Okay, so Willem Dafoe is in this, and every time he shows his face, I'm just like, bring me Spider-Man.
I feel bad when I do. Like I was watching the diaries and I'm like, Green Goblin.
Maybe I shouldn't go.
Jodie, you've been begging me for weeks. You're not going to back up now.
some characters make complete 180s in their emotions
Mm-hmm.
just randomly out of nowhere. And that's another thing. Everybody in this game is a fucking jerk. And most of the male cast is incredibly rapey.
I could just imagine them reading like, say it in a rapey tone.
No joking. Like people try to rape you at least twice in this game. I'm just like, I don't know you. That's my purse. The
Well.
characters that are nice to you are likable. The other characters, like, okay, there's a part very early on where you go to a party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is gonna go into one of my main problems. So let me just why the story to me doesn't work all that well in context of the game is that the story is kind of determined to take you down this story, and it's gonna happen whether you like it or not, and whether you're on board or not, things are gonna happen regardless. And so even if they give you choice,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, they take you go to this party, right, and you can be incredibly sociable, or you can be a total prude. No matter how you interact with these kids, they still turn out to be total assholes to you, regardless of what happens. They can be super nice during the interactions or whatever, and you get to a part where you give the girl whose birthday it is a present, and it's a book, and it's like, this is stupid. This is like this girl's stuck up. Oh yeah, she's a slut too, and they grab her and throw her in a closet.
Only sluts give books and kids.
And this is right after she showed them she had powers.
Wait, why would he do that to someone?
So why would they do that? So it's like the game goes, would you like to take the high road or revenge? I'm gonna show some footage of me killing the crap out of these kids.
Who did that?
I said that's enough. Come back, we're leaving.
What was that?
And this just keeps happening where, like, no matter what choice you made, it doesn't matter.
That's really annoying.
And it doesn't change the story. There's no major choices, actually, in this game. The only things that your choices really do is affect who's going to be present at the ending. You get a choice of endings, and your choice depends on the people. So if someone dies, you can't take that ending because they won't be there. But it's not. She never reflects on somebody dying. Like, if somebody dies, she never mentions them again. Your actions don't do anything.
No, that is pretty lame. I mean, like,
especially within an interactive quote unquote story.
yeah. I mean, like, what's the point of choices? Like we were talking about that, like, numerous of games, like, they tell you if you want to help them or not, and then, like, regardless of what you answer, is like, no, you're being silly. We're gonna help them.
I think it's supposed to simulate your experience. You
Yeah.
feel like you've made a choice up until you play it a second time. Then when you play it the second time, it's like, oh, the one there was no book. Because when you're playing it the first time, it's like, oh, my choice made a difference.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
it's like I had a suicide choice and I didn't take it.
Mhm.
That's cool. And then when you play it the second time, it's like, oh, I took the suicide choice, and my ghost friend took the gun out of my hand. So
Oh.
it's like, oh, there was really no point to that choice.
Uh-huh.
So the illusion wears off almost instantly when you play it a second time.
Oh, so it's like that theme park effect. A
Yeah,
little?
exactly.
Okay.
So that's that. Now, on to how the game works. When you control Jodie, it's really boring because you can do amazing video game tasks such as making lunch, cleaning your house, taking a shower, answering the phone, cooking dinner. Like those are the amazing things you can do as Jodie.
Uh-huh.
The game is at its funnest when you're controlling Aiden to solve puzzles.
Mhm.
When you're using Aiden, this is the name of the ghost. I don't know if I mentioned it before. He controls like a camera, so it's not, and you feel like you're controlling like an orb, and you can go through walls. You can mess with people.
Mhm.
You can possess people. You can move
You can
objects.
possess people?
Yeah, you can possess people. There's parts when you're a CIA agent where you can possess someone to kill his friends and then kill himself. So
That's
there's
cool.
there's stuff like that. When you're using Aiden to protect Joey, a lot of times that's when it's kind of in cinematic mode. Like she's in trouble and you have to go do stuff. But at that point, the game is kind of playing itself. You're kind of just interacting with the environment to kind of save her.
Yeah.
Jodie's not doing anything. You're kind of just doing stuff until time runs out, and then the scenario's over. And then the other stuff is just cutscenes with QuickTime events. And even if you fail them hard, you're fine. Like, you still progress. Maybe you'll die and you'll start from a checkpoint, but a lot of times, like, there's fights, and I'll get my ass kicked, and you still win at the end. So the game is just set on taking you. Like, there's no point in me really doing the quick time events.
Yeah.
And sometimes they make you use the thumbstick, like to duck, for example. Like a punch is coming towards you, you duck.
Uh-huh.
But they don't show you like an arrow or anything, so you kind of just gotta guess what direction they want you to tilt the thumbstick in.
That's kind of cool. Like,
It's cool until it becomes incredibly ambiguous and you have no idea where to go.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy thrusting with a knife, and it's like my reaction was to back up, but you're actually supposed to hit forward to like hit the guy's arm.
Oh, okay. Now that's different. I mean, like it telling you not what to do, like for punches, is like real life. I was like,
Yeah,
there's not gonna be a giant arrow telling you, but I mean, like,
but this isn't real life.
no, but that's weird. Like with the knife scenario, is like you would instinctively just say like, oh, I'll dodge left, right, back, and then attack. He's all like, no, go at him.
You do a fighting sequence, and they teach you how to block and how to do all that stuff. So you kind of memorize, kind of think about what direction you're supposed to push for when someone lunges at you. But from that point, like from the point where you do the training to when you actually do combat, is like 3 hours. Because it's non-linear. So I did the training, sure. And then I was a little girl. And then I was out in the desert. And then I did combat. And that was like 3 hours later. And it was like, oh, I don't remember which way to go to do combat.
No, yeah, especially when the gameplay is different throughout the game. Like, you wouldn't remember.
It's hard to switch between like controls that you typically use from when you're, a little girl and not doing much to doing the action quick time events, which are not the same,
Yeah.
Then there's a really interesting section. I think it's one of the funnest sections where you're in the Middle East and you're a CIA operative, and you do stealth missions where you're running from cover to cover and you use item to distract guards and you like strangle them and stuff like that. And it's pretty fun, but you only do that once.
No choice. We're going straight through.
Stay close, okay?
Quick, help me!
Like, it's only one mission where you do that. And then I keep telling you, I don't know how to fix this because it's not fleshed out enough where it could support the whole game like that.
Yeah.
So if I saw more of that, it probably would have gotten repetitive. But that was one of the most interesting parts. So what do you do? It's a cool part.
It being like happening only once makes it unique, so like it sticks out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Putting more of it, like you said, it makes it repetitive. So I was like, don't know how to fix that.
There's little moments where the game shines. It's just that it's not interactive enough for me to like. I don't want to play it again. To be honest, I beat it and then I looked up all the other endings online because I was going to play another 8 hours just for a slightly different ending.
And are they just slightly different?
There's different endings with different people, but then there's also alternate endings. Like there's a lot of content for the endings, but do you want to play another 8 hours to do it again? And there's achievements that you can get as well for different playthroughs. So people that like doing trophy hunts and stuff like that might get, a kick out of that. It's just that I wonder how much drive there is to do that because I didn't have any after I was done with the game. And I was satisfied. I was like, oh, that was fun. And I mean, like the production value was top notch. Everything looks nice. Everything's well modeled. The environments have a lot of detail in them. The characters do a good performance. Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin, and Jodie, who's Ellen Page, they do a good job, and the models look like them. I'm just gonna do my final report. So, I think that if you see, I'm stumped. I'm super stumped, dude.
I mean, like,
go on.
I don't know. I guess you have to like these quick time games. I guess these interactive movie type games. Like, I know a lot of people liked Heavy Rain, but I wasn't one of those people. Like,
you weren't one of those people?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a really cool idea, but I thought the lack of endings ruined the experience.
Well, this one has diverse endings.
Yeah, and so I want to see that. Like, I actually would like to see the different endings, and I don't know, but like you're saying that like one playthrough doesn't give you enough drive to go back and do a second playthrough. So what's the point of multiple endings if it doesn't want you to see different endings? It doesn't make you want to know.
You've helped me kind of gather my thoughts together for my final report. So here's my final report. It's got a pretty good story, but it can be a little cliche. The controls are not quite there, and it offers different variety of gameplay, but it can get repetitive or not all that interesting. If you already didn't like Heavy Rain and you have no interest in an interactive story, don't even bother. If you're pretty open-minded though, I still think you need to try this, especially if you want to change the pace from shooting people and stuff like that. I think it's an interesting experience, and I actually wouldn't discourage people from buying it, especially if you already like this kind of thing. I mean, maybe it just didn't work for me, you know?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily discourage you from buying it, but what I would say is rent it first, and if you like it, then buy it. So it's a mixed bag, and if you kind of like it, just play it all the way through. I think you owe yourself to play it just to experience this game, because there's not a lot of games out there like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I would say. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, like, rent it. Like, I mean, like, that's the whole purpose of renting, and so that'd be cool.